Hello, my name is Oghenechovwe Donald Ekpeki. I am an African speculative fiction writer, um, slush reader, editor, con runner, publisher, and debunchers. I my works have won the Nebula, the Otherwise, the Noma, and the British Fantasy Award, and I've been a finalist in the Hugo, the Locus, the World Fantasy Award, and a bunch else. So I dabble in speculative fiction. I write speculative fiction, but not just speculative fiction, including most of the subgenres that constitute speculative fiction: science fiction, fantasy, horror, and a bunch else. And my works tend to crisscross across the genres, you know, as lots of works by African writers do. So, my short story O2 Arena is set in the near future Lagos. It's climate fiction, and it looks at a world that has been ravaged by climate change, such that people need external apparatus to breathe, as oxygen production is now hampered by climate change. It also looks at disability, at misogyny, at toxic capitalism, and a bunch of other issues that people in that locale, in that setting, have to deal with. This is because I like to examine or look at the current realities that we live in my work, criticize them, show the ills, and see if we can find alternate ways if we are dissatisfied enough with what we see in the mirror. So, my next story, Destiny Delayed, was published in the May June issue of Asimov. It also touches on similar themes, um, toxic capitalism and the effects of exploitation, and the small effects or the effects of it has on people on ground, on the smaller people, which is something that science fiction and fantasy often glosses over. It tends to focus on grand themes like, good and evil, on empire, but I have an interest in people on ground, the everyday, the day to day, the small, which is often overlooked in speculative fiction, to focus on grand ideas and ideals, you know. So my work tends to be dystopic, like I said, because it looks at the current society that we have and tries to incorporate all these elements, to give us a mirror or show us, what we live in. Because it's all too easy to gloss over those details, in our everyday lives. I have an essay in Uncanny Magazine, the September issue of Uncanny. It's titled "Too Dystopian for Whom? A Continental Nigerian Writer's Perspective." And it looks at, again, our ideas of dystopias, which we all live in, to some extent, and we always have. And it examines the idea that dystopias are new or unwanted, and the idea of people from certain locations, their works being too unpalatable or too dystopic for certain sensibilities, usually Western, you know. Another theme or trait that runs through my works is power. I try to examine power, its lack, being from a place that has had power imbalances and fluctuations and deprivation. So yeah, it's also a thread that runs through my work. Lack of power, its effect, the means that people take to obtain that power, and what they do with it after they obtain it. So that's a little bit about my work. You can find more of my work on my website, odekpeki.com, odekpeki.com. Yeah, you can check out some of my fiction, like Destiny Delayed. You can check out my non-fiction, Bridging Worlds non-fiction. It's a Pan-African non-fiction anthology on the pandemic. It's titled Bridging Worlds: Global Conversations on Creating Pan-African Speculative Literature in a Pandemic. It's a non-fiction anthology collection of essays, yeah, on how writers coped during the pandemic. So you can check those out. It's free to download, by the way. I also have the Africa Reason anthology with Sherry Rennie Thomas and Zelda Knight coming out November 15. Yeah, this year, November 15, 2022. So yeah, you can check out my works, and thank you.